Hi, everyone. My name is Cassandra Williamson. I am coming to you from a holler in Eastern Kentucky. Yeah, this is the Path Forward, and I am in, actually, it's called Pike County, Kentucky. It's right along Mingo County, West Virginia, and then it borders also against Buchanan County, Virginia. So right there in the corner, Hatfield-McCoy feud country. But again, like I said earlier, welcome to the Path Forward. I'm so glad you're here with us today, wherever you may be watching from. Thank you so much. A couple of things I wanted to discuss today. Get this to come out right. There's a lot of stuff going on. There's a lot of stuff going on out there. Today, President signed 2 executive orders that are really important, okay, about what's happening in our higher education systems in the country. The first one, and I'm going to pull it up here and just kind of go through it with you, okay, if you want to watch. I'll pull it up here for you, and you can see it. Let me share the page, share the screen. Let's go to Windows, and not that one. I don't want to share this one. Wait a second here. That one. Okay. Share that one. Okay. Finally got the right one pulled up here. So today, this afternoon, just prior to the start of this show, the president had finished up a signing ceremony that he likes to do, get all out in front of the cameras and do a little political dog and pony show. Okay, so that's basically what it amounts to. But anyway, this particular order, executive order, signed today, has to do with higher education, particularly the accreditation programs that universities use, and whether that would be law schools or medical schools or whatever. They're going after them to make sure that they aren't teaching anything like DEI, none of the standards that they put out, none of the standards that these accreditation bodies put out require any kind of DEI stuff or CRT stuff or, any of those topics that might offend the lily white whatever of these people. Okay, get over themselves. That's all I got to say. But this thing is actually horrendous. Okay, folks. I mean, there's stuff down through here. The order directs Secretary of Education to hold higher education accreditors accountable, including through denial, monitoring, suspension, or termination of accreditation recognition. The Attorney General and the Secretary of Education investigate and take action to terminate unlawful discrimination. You know what they're talking about. If you're using any of those words that they don't like, transgender, gender, minorities, anything like that. They take great offense at those. Their little old egos are hurt by those things, and they just can't handle it. They're weak. They're lily-livered and weak. So it does all kinds of things. This order mandates Secretary of Education to realign accreditation with student-focused principles. Okay, it goes on down through here and it says, requiring institutions use program-level student outcome data to improve results without reference to race, ethnicity, or sex. And that's all that matters to them. They refuse to accept the idea that there are disparities based on your socioeconomic demographic. It's true. Whether you want to believe it or not, those things are true, folks. And it baffles me that they just are so blind to that. They don't even want to talk about it. They don't want to research about it. They don't want anybody talking about anything like that, okay? And let me see. And the other thing is, this next part I just wanted to highlight and show you a little bit about what I'm talking about. Ensuring American students receive a high-quality education. I'm going to blow that up a little bit. Maybe you can see it better. President Trump is tackling the broken accreditation system that has left students with soaring debt, low graduation rates, and degrees of questionable value. Now, who does that remind you of? Take a moment to think about that. Who does that remind you of? There's another world leader who has done the same kind of stuff. As a matter of fact, Trump seems to be copying his playbook. I think they basically work from the same one. Any idea who I'm talking about? That'd be Viktor Orban, folks. Let me see if I can pull Viktor Orban up here on the screen and show you. Hopefully you can still see this. I think you can. This is from The Atlantic, okay, the May 2025 issue of The Atlantic. And there's some good stuff in there. Sorry. So Anne Applebaum, the author of this story, let me see if I can get her name up here again correctly. Where's it at? It's up higher. Okay. America's future is Hungary. Viktor Orban. Following the playbook, I mean, Viktor Orban went in and he cleaned out the higher education systems. He didn't want anything to do with studying, women's studies or gender studies and all that kind of stuff. He got rid of those because he thought they were, as President Trump said, degrees of questionable value. Not to the students who are taking them, not to the people that they have an impact upon. No, they're not. They are definitely valuable to them. And the whole purpose of a higher education, by the way, even at the college level, you get a 4-year degree. You know what the purpose of that really is to teach you how to think. To teach you how to look at problems and know how to address them and get the skills to do that. These degrees do that too. And it doesn't matter what they go into after college because, college taught them that. I had a professor in college in my, which class was that? Statistics, I think it was. Yeah. Anyway, it was statistics. And what he said was, he said, look, most of you are not going to go into this as get a PhD in statistics, but you're being taught how to think here and use what you're learning here at the Naval Academy, okay? Use what you're learning here to give you the steps and give you the processes that you need to be able to critically think through things. And I could get into that left and right. There's all kinds of stuff about it. I talked about some of it yesterday, the day before. But Viktor Orban, that's who we're following. That's who Trump is following. They're good buddies, apparently. Orban has been speaking at CPAC events all over the place. Actually, one of the CPAC events was held in Hungary, of all places. And the Alliance Defending Freedom is all over that place over there. I mean, they've got their hands in all of the stuff going on with Viktor. So, yeah. I mean, that's who we're going to become like. If you want to see what America is headed toward, go check out Hungary. It used to be one of the wealthiest nations in that region. It used to be the place where you'd go to because you knew that you would be able to enjoy yourself. You'd have an atmosphere where you were. It was fun. It was a fun place. Hungary was fun. I know people who have left there and moved to England, Manchester. I got friends who had left Hungary and moved to Manchester. Okay, so they left Hungary. Viktor Orban is destroying that country. It is now one of the poorest countries in the European Union. He's turning it into his vision of masculinity and gender and womanhood and not the Dylan Mulvaney kind of performative bullshit. Okay, sorry. Anyway, so that's where we're headed with these things, folks. If you want to know where America is going and what the future holds, go talk to Viktor Orban. Just watch what he is doing and you'll find it out. Just watch what Putin is doing too. Follow Putin around. Putin is overjoyed that the United States wants to recognize Crimea as Russian. And I've mentioned it before on these kind of shows too. You know what that's all about? That's because it will legitimize Trump's efforts to grab other territories that he thinks that we ought to have for our self-preservation too. If Russia can do it, claim these territories and build themselves a protective shield, like the satellite states in the old Soviet Union, a buffer zone, even though that really is anachronistic. It's a BS thing these days. It just doesn't matter. But that's what Trump is doing too, folks. He's doing the same thing. He wants to be able to do that. And if he can legitimize Vlad Putin, then he will absolutely do the same thing here. And he will expect the same kind of support from Vlad and Viktor and Xi, and Kim Jong Un. He wants to be praised by these vicious leaders. Don't believe it? Just watch how he acts around them. Just watch. Oh my goodness, it's been an interesting day. So today, let me see. I'm getting everything ready to go. I've got to travel to the western end of the state of Kentucky Friday for a family wedding. One of my nephews is getting married. And I'm very happy about that for him. And the other thing is, I actually get to drive out of the hills and into some flatter land. See another part of this state. Lately, I mean, all I've seen have been mountains. I mean, you can look out the windows, go behind me and right behind me. Let me get rid of this share screen so you can see what I'm doing. Click, stop. So, yeah, I mean, you can look either that way or that way or that way or that way. There's a mountain. These two mountains are within, 50 feet that way and 150 feet that way. Up in a valley. Holler, they call it. So that's where I am right now, but I'm looking forward to getting out and maybe seeing some other stuff in the state. Phew, it feels like I've been trapped here for a year and 6 months and a few days. But no, it's been good, though, because I'm here to take care of family, and I'm very, very, very appreciative of the fact that they asked me to come and do that. And I had mom at the doctor today. Brother's still having trouble breathing. My sister's getting around pretty good. She's tied to a wheelchair, basically restricted to a wheelchair, and non-communicative, non-verbal, those kind of things. So, yeah. So today has been pretty interesting. Yeah, I'm tired, I guess is what I'm saying. But I also sent out something today, and if you got the other things that I shared in an email to everybody, I've been trying to get, people like The Five or programs like The Five with Jesse Waters and Greg Gutfeld and Dana Perino and Jessica Tarlov and Janine Pirro. I've been trying to persuade them to bring me onto their shows. As long as I would love to be able to go on Will Cain's show, because today on Will Cain's show, and I do spend a lot of time watching them, because otherwise you know not what they're doing. And if you watch them just a little bit, you shake your head, turn it off, because you're going, steam wants to go flying out. Literally goes, ah! It's like, what the crap are they saying? Anyway, Will Cain said something today on his show, which was right before The Five. He said something about the Democrats are all tribal over there on that side. They got gatekeepers, basically, and you can't say anything and do any of these things unless you're within their silo, they're inside their tribe, and get outside that tribe, they will chastise you, kind of thing. Well, that's true, actually. It is true that happens. The Democratic Party does that. But the thing I sent to Will Cain was, so does the Republican Party. They do the same thing. And Will and The Five and different shows over on there, they all want you to believe that, that kind of tribalism, that kind of gatekeeping, that kind of stuff that goes on like that, it's only over on the left. But I'm here to tell you that it's also on the right. Both sides do it. Both sides do this kind of stuff. Oh my God. And they don't realize that they're the opposite sides of the same darn coin. Okay. Do you know what that term is called in Roman mythology? Roman, actually. It was Janusian. Janus. Came from Janus. Opposite sides, same thing. Anyway, so yeah, I can get wonky. I know that, person watching. but it's been an interesting day, folks. It really has been. I do want to get on some of those shows, though. I'd really love to, because, I just want to prove the point. They say that they aren't, or they're hinting or they're indicating that they aren't tribal, that they do take and listen to other perspectives and have other views and stuff like that. Well, they got Jessica Tarlov on the 5, but they give her such a hard time. It's crazy. And when Harold Ford is on the show, you got Harold Ford and Jessica Tarlov, both Democrats, on the show at different times. They talk over them. They talk down to them. It's very, very horrible the way they treat these two people. Okay? Let me just say it like it is. It's horrible. It really is. But Will Kane, I'd love to be able to come on to your show. All right, everybody. Let me see what the comments are down here in the comment block. Let me see. Chat. Who put chat in here? Hi, Cassandra. Let me see. I'm not quite sure who you are, Carrie, but yep, glad you're here. I don't know who you are, but I'm glad you're watching. Darby, my friend Darby. Yes. Democrats, Republicans are different shades of the same side of the coin. Yeah, okay. Different shades of the same side of the coin. All right, yep. Okay, I can do that too. And then Darby also says, all the same, people who think they are important and that we should somehow value their opinion. Yeah, exactly right. I agree. I agree. But I just love to challenge them on some of those points because they don't have anyone on there that actually will challenge them. And they won't bring me on their show either. None of these people bring me on their shows because they know. I always tell them, look, I tell them up front, look, I'm a veteran of the Navy and the Marine Corps, and I'm a graduate of the Naval Academy. And I happen to be, a veteran who just so happens to be, a parent and grandparent and retired and using the terminology that I just can't stand. I'm also one of those trans people. So they're not going to ask me on a show. With that, see you tomorrow evening, everyone. Have a great evening.